Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Tosin. I'm a fashion designer, and this is your first time on my YouTube channel. You're welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss common mistakes fashion designer make when cutting a trouser. So I belong to a particular Facebook group for fashion designers where someone asked a question which I'm going to attach on the screen. The person said, why is it that trouser always come out looking sideways when it is supposed to look straight, like a normal trouser is supposed to look? Why is our own trouser twisting to the side? My answer to her is that she's always ignoring the green line. Now, the green line is, I'm going to attach also an image to show you what this green line is. The green line when cutting trouser is your hip measurement. Whenever you cut your hip measurement, especially the crotch area, your hip measurement plus your crotch extension, that is what will give you the crotch line. That's the horizontal line for the crotch measurement. So that crotch measurement plus your crotch extension is whatever it is you get there, you're supposed to divide it into two. That is how you get your green line. So when you get your green line, you are going to extend that green line downwards such that it is going to pass your knee and also to your ankle. I hope you understand. The image should be able to explain better what I mean by the green line. So whenever you want to then go ahead to insert your knee measurement or your hip measurement, you are supposed to have the same measurement sideways when you are cutting it. The same measurement to your right, the same measurement to your left. So let's assume the quarter of your thigh measurement or your knee measurement is say like 10. You are going to have 5 inches to the right, 5 inches to the left. That way you are going to have a straight trouser. Like your trouser is going to be straight. If you ignore that green line, there's no way your trouser will come out looking sharp and straight. If you have like 6 inches to the right and 7 inches to the left, it's not going to be stable. It will look somehow twisted eventually when you finish sewing it. I hope you understand. So that is the number one mistake fashion designers make whenever they are cutting their trouser. The second mistake is wrong measurements. Now, wrong measurements here might be wrong waist measurements, wrong hip measurements, or even wrong crotch measurements. So it's going to come out too loose or too tight, such that it's not going to fit properly for the person putting it on. So what you are supposed to do here is to measure correctly. There's a way you are supposed to measure the thigh. There's a way you are supposed to measure your crotch length on the person. And to get even your crotch length is not difficult. Just ask your client to sit down and you measure it from the waist to the butt. That is how you get your crotch measurement. Or you just divide your hip divided by 4 plus 1 or 2 inches depending on how free you want the trouser to be. So it's as simple as that. Make sure you have the right measurement. Also, when you insert the right sewing allowance, the right sewing allowance might be 1 inches, 2 inches, and also if you are going to be adding a dart to your trouser, make sure you add it to the measurement that you have on the waist measurement so that it is not going to be too tight. You'll now be struggling to insert that for your trouser. It will not make any sense. So if you are still watching this video, thank you so much for coming along with me till this time. I have a 60-day content calendar for fashion designers, for people who sell fabrics, and the link is in my description. You can just get it. It's available on Seller. It's a 60-day content calendar which will help you in your content creation game as a fashion designer. So the next mistake is crotch depth. One of the biggest mistakes fashion designers make when cutting trouser is always crotch depth. When you get the crotch depth wrong, everything about the trouser will be wrong. So if it is too loose, like the crotch extension, the crotch depth measurement is too much or it is too little, it will make your trouser look very tacky. If it is too short or too long, it will not make any sense whenever you are cutting or sewing your trouser. So make sure that you have the right crotch measurement for your client. I explained this earlier, how to get your crotch depth measurement. That is also one of the mistakes that you are supposed to avoid. Another mistake you should avoid as a fashion designer is whenever you are picking a fabric for your trouser, the same measurements you are going to insert when cutting trouser for a stretchy fabric is not the same way you are going to use the same measurements you use for a non-stretchy fabric. Let's take, for example, if I'm cutting joggers for a very stretchy fabric, I might decide not to add sewing allowance to the front part of my trouser because it is stretchy and I know that eventually the person will ease into it. But if I'm using a non-stretchy fabric, say like Ankara, it will make no sense for me not to add a sewing allowance. It will not make any sense. So be very careful. You're not going to use the same method to cut different types of fabrics for trouser. Know your fabrics and know how to add the sewing allowance, whether it be 1 inch or 2 inch. Just know how to go about it. Not all fabrics are the same. Even when you are cutting jeans, there are some jeans trousers or denim trousers that are very stretchy. Some are not stretchy. So just know your fabrics and know the right sewing allowance to impute in your fabrics. Another mistake you should avoid making when cutting trouser is there's a particular part of the back piece that you're supposed to go up by at least 2 inches, depending on how big the person is. If you don't go up by 2 inches and you just leave it like that, it will make no sense. Eventually, when you finish cutting that trouser, the trouser will be it will be tight, it will be pulling up the person. So it will be very uncomfortable. So that 2 inches which you are supposed to go up with is supposed to be a form of ease allowance, because our front side and our back side is not the same, especially for women. That is why you are supposed to go up by 2 inches. And also the front piece of your trouser, you go down by 1 inch. For the back piece, you are supposed to go up at least by 2 inches, depending on how big the person is. This will serve as a form of ease to accommodate the bum bum of the person. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Another one is not double checking. So there's a rule in fashion design, there's a rule in tailoring that you check your measurements twice and then you cut once. You insert your measurement twice, then you cut once. That is like the general rule. You make sure that all your measurements are correct. You check it. There's no point you get to in fashion design that you claim to be a pro and you stop checking your measurements. Anybody can make a mistake. So make sure you check all your measurements. Make sure that everything is accurate and you are doing the correct thing. You are inserting the right measurements for all your fabrics and everything. If you need further explanation on how to cut trouser, there's a link in my description. There's another video that I made just before this one on how to cut a palazzo trouser with rope. How to cut a palazzo trouser with rope. And subsequently in the course of this year, I'll also be dropping videos on how to cut pant trouser and other types of trouser. But for now, what I have on my channel is how to cut a palazzo trouser with rope, and also the Ankara baggy trouser, how to cut it. So thank you so much for watching my video to this point. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, you like it, and you share to your friends. I'm sure that you learn a lot from this channel. Till the next time I come your way again,